So what can we do when a customer starts to guilt trip or emotionally blackmail us into getting a cheaper cake, right? Number one, this is actually my only point, right? We can remember that we are not running a charity, we are not running a non-profit organisation. Full stop. That's all you need to know. I've seen an awful thread in one of Cake Groups that's inspired me to do this video, where the mum was basically saying that the 7-year-old daughter was paying for her dream birthday cake out of her disability benefits. The cake maker had quoted £90, and the mum was telling her that this 7-year-old with sensory processing disorder was now really upset that she couldn't afford it. So she'd quoted 90 and the customer wanted it for 70. So she's basically begging for this £20 discount. That's a big chunk. £20 is a lot to knock off £90, right? So I know a lot of us, especially if it was first time getting guilt tripped, we might have caved. We might have done it. If you do that, they're going to expect it every time, right? They're going to be so grateful to you that you did it, and they're going to expect it every time. But ask yourself, if you met this person on the street and they said, I don't suppose you'd give me £20, would you, for this high-end bespoke luxury item that is not a necessity, because I'm a bit skint because I'm on benefits. You wouldn't just take £20 out of your pocket and give it to them. So why give them that discount, right? That £20 could pay your electric for a week. It could fill your kids' lunch boxes. It could be the ingredients towards your next cake order. £20 is a lot of £90. So if somebody's asking you for a discount, and especially when they're being quite insistent, they either can't afford it, right? In which case, why aren't they just getting a supermarket cake? Or they're not valuing your time and your product and your skills, right? It's possibly a mixture of both. It's not just like this individual situation here, it's influencers, even worse, wannabe influencers. I had a guy that used to come to my market stall and he'd buy 6 cookies, and every time he'd ask if I'd just charge him for 5 because he were buying in bulk. And after he asked me 4 or 5 times about this, knocking him £1 off, getting him 6 cookies for a £5, I pointed out to him that, first of all, 6 cookies once or twice a month does not constitute a bulk order, right? And I also pointed out that this smart suit and tie that he was wearing every single time he came to my stall on a Friday lunchtime, that suggested to me that he was probably in a much better paid job than I was, and he could probably afford that extra £1, right? He don't have to treat the entire office to a cookie on a Friday afternoon, does he? So, but it doesn't matter what a person's circumstances are. We don't owe anyone a discount. There are always cheaper options out there. Cake is not a need. A fancy birthday cake is not a need, it's just a want. But as always, your people skills pay the bills, so don't just say no. Handle it gently, but handle it firmly. Stand your ground. Tell them that you're sorry. Your prices are set for a reason. If we could charge less, we'd be charging less, wouldn't we? Because we'd all get more customers as cakes were £20 cheaper. But we wouldn't be making the wages that we deserve. You haven't pulled your pricing out of thin air. You better not have pulled your pricing out of thin air, right? You can't just give £20 off a £90 cake, right? That's a big chunk of your markup. There's always ways to simplify the cake design or to go for a smaller cake, a size smaller. There are cheaper cake makers out there, always. There are always supermarket cakes. There are organisations that put families who are genuinely in need in touch with cake makers who are in a position where they can supply free cakes. There's the Cake Initiative and free cakes for kids. Most areas have somewhere like that. These cake makers that supply free cakes, they've got their reasons for doing so, and they've got a budget for doing it, or they won't be doing it. So just tell them that they can go to one of those places if money is such a bad situation. You don't have to get defensive. You don't have to feel upset, right? Some people just live like this. They just, they're always out for bringing prices down. It can be a cultural thing. You don't always have to feel offended. You certainly don't have to act offended. It's not going to affect them in any way if you say no. They're just going to move on to it next. So don't feel guilty. Stand your ground and know what you're worth. Don't just give discounts because someone asks for it and gives you a sob story. We've all got a sob story, haven't we?